What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I'm according to the Woods, and he is former U of MMA champion Pius Inalalobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus. And guess what? Fuck Tyrone Woodley, guys. I've been saying that shit since UFC 209, which I was fortunate enough to be there. Shout out to former LXF bantamweight champion Albert the Belizean Warrior Morales for providing me with a ticket to that fantastic event up until the fucking main event, which was Tyrone Woodley and a guy who fought last night as well and got his ass whooped, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Can we just be done with these two? And especially fucking Wonder Boy's ass brought all of his students up from South Carolina to Vegas. Now, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, he's a nice white collared person. Wonder Boy is and everything like that. But you take all your motivated karate students to fucking Vegas to have you get your ass whipped by a gentleman who's a Muslim. Merry Christmas!
Hey, did you hear somebody in the audience yelling terrorist type talk at Bilal Muhammad?
I believe it. I absolutely fucking believe it, man. Because America, people are real Americans, man, and they're showing they fucking selves, man. And I mean, if that's what you do, that's what you do, man. I don't have a dog in the hunt, you know. So I'm just saying, like, I whatever.
Okay.
But I'm just glad both Wonder Boy. I mean, this is what I've been trying to tell everyone since UFC 209. How many fucking UFCs ago with them? A shit ton, a literal fucking shit ton. So I'm glad that they both lost in the same night, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close, either one of them, So shout out to Belal Muhammad and shout out to the one Paul brother. I can't get the two. I know Nick and Nate Diaz. I can tell those two apart. I can't tell Jake and Logan Paul apart. So whichever one that fought Tyrone Woodley, fuck yes, man. Kudos to you. And unless you fucking do some video on a Japanese suicide forest, fuck, man. But shit, man, I loved it. That was like Christmas come early, right? Literally a week early from Christmas, where we're getting Tyron got dead Nick in the dirt, just knocked dead Dick in the dirt. And again, here's my problem with Tyron Woodley. I'm not saying he's a horrible champion or whatever, but speaking of champion, right? You championed yourself for better pay and better pay across the boards. And then also had boring ass fights, but also pissed Dana White off as a kind of trump card to go, oh, I have shit in Hollywood. I'm in movies. Look at me with the Michael J.R. White. Look at me in my new rap album and shit like that, right? Where the fuck is that now? Where? Because you got beat by a YouTuber twice and finished in the last one. It's a rap, son. I mean, not your rap. Maybe it is his rap because I haven't heard his fucking mixtape. Yeah, that means it didn't chart what at all. But
I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass.
Well, apparently that shit ain't at YouTube because the YouTuber beat his ass in every conceivable way, And I heard a little birdie told me that Woodley was signing up for the $500,000 knockout bonus. Because your ass got knocked out in the fifth. $500,000 went the other way. So I'm just saying, Woodley, like you had a chance. You had a chance to be a beacon of the MMA community, an advocate for fighters all around the world, but specifically in the UFC. But what? You want to go tussle with the boss Dana White. You want to have boring ass fights, right? This is one where this is like when Ariel Helwani got fucking kicked off of ESPN this last time. The fighters were sticking up for him. Neither was the MMA fucking reporter community or the fans, right? So just saying. So Woodley, let's call it a day. You're you're causing irreparable damage to your career, and fuck the career, your life. Because again, you got
Flatline.
flatlined, flatlined. So I'm just saying, I was a happy boy last night. That not that I would piss on anybody's grave, but I'm just saying, I did pee a little bit when both of them got knocked out in the
There is.
co and main event of their respective cards on the same fucking night.
Hey, there is one positive here. Tyron Woodley got 2 paydays, something he wouldn't have gotten in the UFC. So at least there's a win for him there. And with the 2 paydays, if he's an intelligent man, he should be able to put the money to use such that he never has to work again, and he can use the money to make adequate living, on the residuals. If he knows what he's doing. If not, he'll be right back full circle, right where he's at, scraping and scrapping and getting knocked out
He's gonna
for
get fucking.
money.
You know what? Next Triller pay per view, it's gonna be him and the other basketball motherfucker, Nate Robinson. It's a game of Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and again, Woodley will take the L. So I'm just saying. So I don't see Tyrone Woodley as a smart gent, because he would have
Mm.
never, went into this endeavor. It'd be one thing, what's his name, Askren, right? Askren, whatever, and you could see his ass laughing out, right? And you could argue that he took a dive. This wasn't a dive.
He
This
got
was
knocked out.
he got knocked the fuck out.
He literally dove to the ground
Mhm.
after being separated from consciousness. Um, he truly earned his money. He earned that paycheck. He really earned that paycheck with his consciousness. It
Well,
is what it is.
you said, taking that dive and tackling shit and whatever. What do you expect from a world champion wrestler like Tyron Woodley, right? I mean, NCAA, all that and whatever. Yeah, he double legged the fucking canvas. How about that, right? I'm just saying. But I mean, in further ado, we have UFC Fight Night: Chris Daukaus versus the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, and we get this started off with a bit of a bang. Jordan the Monkey King Levitt against Matt Sales, and
Mhm.
Jordan Levitt, the Monkey King, pulls off only the third inverted triangle finish in UFC history. This guy is a record maker, a record shatterer. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Record shatterer. Um,
Mhm.
but man, Jordan Levitt.
Yeah, he did what he had to do, man. Quickly realized that he was the better skilled grappler. He initiated the grappling. He took his man to the ground, kept him on the ground. He did that for 3 rounds, and fortunately for him, in the third round, he was able to secure an inverted triangle. He didn't even have to use his arms at all. He was holding the man's body. He saw the opportunity, and his legs just went to work, sunk in the perfect triangle and inverted triangle, and that was that. Lights out. He eventually tapped to the triangle because it was so tight. It didn't look tight, but the victim knew it was tight, so he tapped. And shout out to Jordan, man. He did what he had to do.
And not just that he tapped, but he tapped literally the Monkey King's butthole. That's how in despair he was. He was tapping his asshole. We got a peek to the Monkey King. It was like he got sexted, right? You know how in biology class and shit like that they tell you about the chicks and whatever, and their gender isn't whatever, so you have to blow on their genital region, right? So come on, future farmers of America, right? You have to blow and whatever the fuck to find out what sex he was. So apparently, Matt Sales was trying to figure out what the hell, the Monkey King identified as. So shout out to that. Hopefully, he got his answers.
Uh, yeah, they called Matt some kind of striker, but I don't know. I don't
He
know what
struck his butthole.
I don't know.
He struck his butthole. So
Speaking of buttholes, in the second match we have we have Dante Mays versus Josh Parisian. Uh, for some reason, the heavyweight wanted to show his grappling skills, and he did exactly that. He grappled the hell out of Josh, And then at one point they were in North South, and he did a technique that I'd never seen before. I had no idea that you can actually use your pelvis as a weapon. Dante used his pelvis as a weapon against his opponent's face, smashing him with these thrust in action, which prompted the Irish Dragon to question what was that? And I quote the Irish Dragon. He said, "What was that?" And I couldn't understand it myself, but eventually he was able to secure the crucifix, and he dropped multiple elbows to his opponent's face, securing the victory. Did you catch that thrust in action?
Um, you mean the face fucking, right? That's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Um, that there was a face fuck. 1, 2, 3, and I was expecting, the gents, Josh Parisian, to kind of like go like whatever because he caught a load. He caught a load, and for his troubles, I mean this. I mean, if you're an atheist, this is a field day for you because you got a little bit of S&M action with the three, face fucks by Dante Mays to Josh Parisian, and then you get a hammer from the crucifix. So, I mean, if you're an
Hey,
atheist going into Christmas, man, you had a field day with this one.
hey, I remember John Jones talking about there was some fella that was a rapist that was being allowed to train in the gym, and I couldn't help but to think, is this the guy? Is this the guy? Because after the act and the round was over, he smiled and laughed about it. So I'm guessing maybe this is the guy John Jones was referring to, but I don't know. It's a in gym secret, so I can't really pinpoint. But I don't know. Maybe this guy could have been sending a message to John.
Oof.
Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows?
Well, over on Twitch, Michael McKee says hi, and this is not on YouTube, which lies, sir, lies, because it is being streamed both on the Voodoo in the Woods YouTube page as well as the bodyslam.net YouTube page. So, how to say you're not subscribed to both channels without saying you haven't subscribed, that is it, good sir. And
Yeah. So with that said,
you owe me
Mike.
you
Yeah,
owe me
Mike McKay, Mike McKee. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to Voodoo in the Woods on YouTube as well, my brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, but I mean, all jokes aside, this one was really cool because the fact that the heavyweights, you saw every bit of every aspect of mixed martial arts. You saw
Hmm.
striking, you saw kicking, you saw punching,
Hmm.
you saw it all
Hmm.
in this particular fight. And when you think of like, oh, let's say the old school Bjorn Rebney heavyweights, right? Like the Ron Sparks and the Eric Prindles, big, like butterbean looking dudes,
Hmm.
like built like a
Hmm.
fire hydrant, and they would just like
Hmm.
gas in the fucking third round, or not even the third round, like the third minute of the fight, if it's a 5 minute fight, and this wasn't that. So
Hmm.
I I'm really, really interested to see what both guys do. Especially, I mean, we have a heavyweight, fight headlining the card,
Hmm.
but what how these two's trajectory in Dante Mays and Josh Parisian's, whole gimmick.
Just like you said, man, all BS aside, this is what you need to do as a fighter in the UFC. This is what you need to do early on. Stack the W's. This man went in there and he didn't try to impress anyone. He went in for the W. He knew his opponent would not be as good a grappler as he was, so he went in there and utilized grappling. Made sure he didn't take any damage. He got the W. He's moving on. He got the show money and he got the bonus for winning. So he's moving on. So when there's a fight that's really worth his while, then he'll risk his limbs, his arms and limbs, and his health to really truly entertain. But I see nothing wrong with what he did.
Nope, nope, not at all. But you mentioned moving on. So we'll move on right to the third fight of the night. We had Raquel Pennington, UFC Ultimate Fighter alumnus, against UFC Ultimate Fighter a couple seasons later,
Mm-hmm.
winner Macy Chiasson. And
Mm-hmm.
my goodness, Raquel Pennington just asserted her dominance. And
Yeah.
it's so wild because she's been in the UFC, since her early to mid 20s, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like it's been like a decade. This is the season of Ronda versus Misha Tate as dueling coaches, right? So that's got to be about, if not 10 years, then nearing 10 years ago, right? But Raquel Pennington is only 33. Only 33. And my goodness, she showed the veteran savvy she's a tenured young veteran. And it didn't even look like it was close. Macy Chiasson had almost nothing to thwart, one Rocky Pennington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Macy did exactly what she was supposed to do. She was the big body girl with the reach. She did everything right. She did everything right. I saw her use the, all her knowledge as a fighter in this match. But unfortunately for her, Raquel Pennington knew just a little bit more. Raquel knew to get in tight and use multiple striking to the body, to the head, angles. She did everything right. The grappling, everything was just a point, man. Eventually, uh, Raquel was able to secure the guillotine choke. Her opponent made a crucial mistake. My coach Brian Peterson says when you shoot for the double and you're pressing your opponent against the fence, do not leave your head in there. You have to have your head erect, right? Almost like smashing with your shoulders, right? With your head erect. And this was a mistake by Macy. She left her head in there, and she got caught in the guillotine, and that was all she wrote. You can't make these mistakes at this high level, man, especially against an opponent like this, like a Raquel Pennington. Macy had an opportunity to win because of the size and the distance management. She did a great job there, but she left that neck, and the neck got snatched, and that's how the game goes sometimes.
Yep, sometimes it beats like that, but head erect. That sounds like you're still in the Dante Mays fight. So I guess we'll move move on. But Michael McKee says Adam told me he wants an exhibition fight with you.
Uh
Not
oh.
at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, let's do a burger off, right? Let's see who can cram in and out more or what
Hey,
have you.
I still owe you an In and Out too. You and Shaman Steve. I haven't forgotten. We might have to do that very soon.
Yes, hashtag never forget. And you'll see
That's
this
right.
some of a bitch order a fucking 10 by 10 or some shit. Something crazy. Because Voodoo got bank, is what we're saying.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
right.
100%. Don't let the why get in the way of a good story. And that's a damn good story, good sir. But speaking of damn good, holy shit, Charles Jourdain, right? Air Jourdain is
Mhm,
fucking amazing, man. He eviscerated Andre Ewell. The third round was just fucking all like it was just like a diss. This is a diss track
mhm,
to Andre Ewell, right?
mhm,
Right into
mhm,
the final buzzer where he fucking this is smart and front kicked him and the whatever. Just in case the judges forgot that, hey, he should fucking have the decision. And he was probably
mhm,
pissed that, you know what? Because he has a 100% finishing rate in all of his wins. So he was probably pissed off that he didn't get the finish, that Andre Ewell circled the drain just a bit, circled the toilet just a bit to earn him a decision victory rather than a finish.
mhm, mhm. Hey, this right here, Charles Jourdain was in what we like to describe as free flow. He accessed free flow early on, and he utilized all his basic skills to get the job done. When it went to the ground, he was phenomenal. When it went to the fence, he was phenomenal. When it was hand to hand combat, he was phenomenal. He was just dialed in. Everything was firing on all cylinders. And as you can see, you could tell at the end of the fight, he had more. He had more, and he didn't know what to do with it. That's why you saw the emotion, the way it happened. His eyeballs were flared out, and he was highly alert in this matchup. Um, It was a beautiful match to watch. Jourdain highlight reel performance. He did what he had to do. Andre Ewell, well, though he had the reach advantage and all that, he didn't utilize his jab like he was supposed to. He didn't manage his distance like he was supposed to. He allowed Charles Jourdain to enter his circle, and Jourdain did what he had to do, which was smash, Hulk smash. And shout out to Jourdain. He'll be back. He'll be back. He's got to do something with that jab, man. He's got those long, lanky arms and legs, and he's not maximizing his skills or his gift, which are the limbs. He's not maximizing them to its full potential. This is why he's losing. So he's gonna have to figure something out.
Charles Jourdain, though, if he continues like this, he's a star. If you ever see if Mick Maynard, Sean Shelby, Dana White, and the WME brass, whoever makes the fucking calls, like I'm not saying it's unfair to call anybody the next McGregor, because obviously, McGregor is once in a lifetime. But
Mm-hmm.
if you, I'm not a betting man because I fucking hate that Brett Okamoto whatever show. The betting show, which I mean, to be honest, folks, I caught this card after the fact, and I caught the clips right because I got to skip the commercials on ESPN Plus. Haha. So there's a little bit of a life hack there. But every time the thing went off, it would go to the UFC sports betting show, and I swear to God, I fucking didn't need it. I didn't need it. They're trying to push that shit down my throat. But if I were a betting man, and I'm not, I would bet the fucking house, win, lose, or draw, on Air Jourdain because this is a guy who, 2, 3, 5 years, you can build a division around. You can build, promotional opportunities, and he very much digs all of that. He knows what to do in the spotlight, knows how to perform. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I know there's UFC fight bonuses and all that jazz, but if you're looking at the totality, my goodness, that's Jourdain.
Yep. He looked phenomenal. He looked phenomenal. But speaking of phenomenal,
Oh wait, so,
hey,
good
what's
sister
up,
here.
Takia?
Yes, and
What's
also
up?
Voodoo, I need an MMA jacket.
Uh-oh, an MMA jacket? You mean something like this?
That might work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might work. I don't know. As you were saying,
Yeah. In this next matchup, we have Melissa Gatto versus the Sarge Eubanks. It looked phenomenal in the beginning. As we predicted, Melissa, jiu-jitsu specialist, tried the jiu-jitsu, but the Sarge's wrestling defense was just good enough to nullify all the jiu-jitsu of Melissa. So now the fight has to be on the feet. So now we're in the third round. They're getting down, throwing, slinging shots. The first 2 rounds was a whole bunch of grappling. Now we're on our feet and we're getting it going. And Melissa snaps a nice, beautiful front kick from the rear leg right to the liver, landed on the spot, and imploded the Sarge right where she stood. Where she stood was where she fell. It wasn't one of those kicks where you kick them and then they go flying. It wasn't none of that. It was not a push kick like the Muay Thai specialists would do. This was a snapping kick like the karate fellas would do and the Taekwondo fellas would do. These are the more supreme kicks, if you ask me. As you can see, compress the liver, not push the human being backwards, with the force. You wanna hit with the ball of the foot, this part, not the whole foot, right? Just this part right here, the ball part. And as you can see, the Sarge crumbled, and that's where it ended. Beautiful fight of the night. No, no, no. Beautiful performance of the night, worthy technique, and she got $50,000 for that front kick, man. A beautiful snapping front kick is way more valuable to me than one of those push kicks.
yeah. Well, Takea says hell yes on the
Yeah.
MMA jacket.
You
But
can have it.
There you go. I'm also gonna say, oh hell yeah. That's what so cold Steve Austin would do. But yeah, man, this one stopped the Sarge dead in her tracks, which also seems like it could be the tail of her UFC career. At a 7-7 record, it's not looking good. Now, mind you, Sarge, going into Fight Island, which is the first time that we saw her in a long while, she was 3-4, right? So she was able to have a bit of a career resurgence, right? She put everybody on notice when she beat the Raging Panda, Julia
Yeah.
Avila, right? And
Mhm.
but this one, it just, I
She
don't
got
know.
caught slipping, man. She
She
got
got
caught
caught.
slipping. She
Yeah,
got caught slipping. You gotta respect the snapping kicks. See, the thing about the snapping kicks are, they don't pack the same force as a Muay Thai roundhouse kick or Muay Thai teep kick. They don't pack the same force, but they have enough force to knock you out cold, cold. You know what I mean? As you can see, a nice compression of the liver, and look at what we have here. Doesn't have to be 100% blast. All you need is a nice 30 to 40% snap. You know what I'm saying? And you'll get the same job done. You don't have to oversaturate, right? You don't have to oversaturate. Just precision striking is enough. And that's what we saw here. A nice, precise ball kick to the liver, drops the opponent, and ends the fight immediately.
No, 100%. And Takia says, you guys are amazing. I'm a big fan of Voodoo. Well, get right back at you because I'm a big
Yeah,
fan of Takia as well as one Voodoo Maximus. So
that's
it
right,
is
Takia.
absolutely, absolutely. So, we go from Gatos to Tafas because we
hmm
had Justin Tafa against Harry the Hurricane Hunsucker, which
hmm
a hurricane hit the shit out of Harry because man, oh man, oh man, oh man. This literal, I acknowledge Justin's Alpha as my tribal chief because he's tatted up from the waistline all the way down to his right above the knee, right? But shout out to the Aussie, the Samoan, Aussie born Samoan. That's what I'm going with. Because holy shit, man. Obviously, much like his teammate Tai Tuivasa, he kind of it feels like he's like a knockout artist, just striking and what have you. And this one is a short one, but we saw Justin Toffa's grappling defense, takedown defense, and he did some fucking spinning shit because that's what
mm,
ended up being the absolute end of Harry Hunsucker of this particular night.
yes, yes. Justin Taffa, first heavyweight in history to miss weight at heavyweight. No heavyweight in the UFC history has ever missed weight. I mean, how do you miss weight at heavyweight? But let's put that aside. He had one strike against him. So he comes into the match. They start fighting. Harry, being a complete fighter and a former champ himself, double champ, he realized, okay, this is a very strong human being. Let me fight him in a mixed martial art fashion. And he tried to get the takedown, in which Justin sprawled on him. And they fought. They got back up, and Justin found an opportunity to deliver a devastating roundhouse kick to the head. He threw the kick. His opponent blocked it, but the tree trunks that Justin was wielding were so powerful and massive that even though his opponent blocked the kick like such, there was so much force that he ended up punching himself in the face, knocking himself out, dropping to the ground, and the fight was ended immediately. I mean, the force, the big giant legs of Justin Taffa, the way he swung that tree of you know what I mean? He swung it so hard. Even though the man blocked the kicks, he blocked it. So much force that he ended up hitting himself in the face with his own hands and ending his own night. And shout out to Justin Taffa. Justin might have saved his job. I believe we will see Justin one more time, at least one more time.
Yeah, and Takia says, "Oh, thank you. No, thank you for your ardent support, Takia. We love having you here as well as everyone else. Now, you said, how do you miss weight at heavyweight? First off, he's not the first. He's probably the first to actually fight because usually when people miss weight at heavyweight, they're like, no, fuck it, we're not doing it, right? But you haven't tried palasami. You haven't had fucking corned beef wrapped in banana leaves, dipped in fucking coconut milk. You haven't had the Polynesian and Melanesian treasures. My God, and
Not yet.
I can tell you from ultimate experience, first-hand account, that you can miss weight at heavyweight. I might be a heavyweight right now in the auspices of the UFC right now because of that good ass Polynesian food. So I'm just saying, shout out to Polynesia, Melanesia, and all the islands. This is a big win for us. I know in both the Chiasan instance as well as Stafa, Joe Martinez, man. Shout out to Joe Martinez, longtime UFC and WEC, just combat sports ring announcer, cage announcer. But he, if you guys notice, did something that I mean, a lot of people just barely caught last night, but he's done it his entire career, where he goes, weighed in over the whatever division, like BCGS on over the limit of whatever. Justin Taffa over the limit. He added it to the introduction. That shit was gangster's rock, man. But he's done it. Go back to the WEC and put it in your UFC Fight Pass. When a fighter miss weight, he's done it pretty much for damn near 20 years. So shout out to Joe Martinez. But again, we need to get some Polynesian food in Voodoo Maximus because he will know you can fucking miss weight at heavyweight.
I'm down with that.
Hell yes.
Hey, I'm down near heavyweight myself right now, so let's get it.
Let's get it. But speaking of getting it, you know who got it? You know who got that shit? Mr. GM3, Jared Mishart. He got that shit, man. And Dustin Stolfus, came all the way from Germany, right? And he now fights here in the USA to basically parlay his dream of being in the UFC. And it's here. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I'm finally in the UFC. He probably said it in German. It probably wasn't as high pitched or whatever. But guess what? You know who didn't give a shit? Gerald Mishart. Because he is the most, at 34-14 after this fight, he is the most tenured fighter that nobody really knows of. Like nobody. I mean, outside, you go outside and ask somebody, have you heard of GM3? They probably think that you're talking about some
car
razor or a razor, or that you got the damn infomercial that you get two for the very low price of $99.99, whatever the fuck. But I'm just saying, Gerald Mishart, man, finding a way to win, not just a way to win, but a way to finish, right? And this one, unfortunately, didn't net him the $50,000 bonus, but Jesus Christ, man, Gerald Mishart. And did you see in the first round where he tried to pull off that sleek ass armbar? That was some amazing shit. Even like the commentators were like, "Oh my god, like that is so sleek." Because I mean, literally, Dustin Stolfus was literally punching down, and Gerald Mishart, the tenured veteran that he is, literally caught that fool slipping and was hanging off of his arm. I'm surprised Dustin Stolfus, as big as Gerald Mishart is, yes, this fight was a contracted 185 pound, but I guarantee you both gentlemen are closer to 200, if not the 205 light heavyweight deal by the time they stuck him into the octagon. So with that all being said, this one was amazing. And I don't know what happens with Mishart. I hope he doesn't like. I mean, obviously he's going to go up in the rankings, right, as well he should. But is he going to get a 185? Is he going to be in contention with one Israel Adesanya? I don't know. I don't know. And also, that's a treacherous climb even to get to the top of the mountain or midway through the mountain. And you, Voodoo Maximus, who's ran up and down mountains like dang near killed your dog, Peter's gonna love that. No, but the dog could fucking run the LA Marathon by himself because of Voodoo Maximus's training. But with that all being said, Gerald Meerschaert, another win, another finish to his illustrious career.
Yeah, it was a very good performance for Jared. Dustin brought the fight to him, and it was a complete fight. It was a complete mixed martial arts fight from top to bottom. They struck, they kicked, they grappled, they dirty boxed, they did everything in the book. But the experience of Mearshart paid dividends as he was able to secure the rear naked choke eventually in the third round. And what an exhausting performance it was for him. Um, I never seen him perform that well until this particular fight. It was very impressive. Shout out to GM3. I'm not really into his fights, but this one put me on notice. I actually paid attention. Um, it's worthy of rewinding and studying, right? If there's a match that you can watch and study for tricks that you haven't seen before, this particular match is one of those matches. It's worthy of studying if you are a new fighter and you want to be at the highest level. This is the highest level in performance, in mixed martial arts performance. This is one of them right here. So, uh, young fighters, study up, man. Fight number 7 on this card was phenomenal.
Like AJ Styles, it was absolutely phenomenal. But you know what was phenomenal is I can admit when I am wrong, and I was wrong about this one. Voodoo was absolutely right. But we had Cub Swanson taking on Darren the Damage Elkins, and Killer Cub was all out with the killer instinct on this particular night. Now we didn't see it until after, but his family, his wife Kenda Perez, the MMA personality that hasn't fought, right? To Cub Swanson standards, she's not a real reporter because she doesn't actually fight, right? You remember Cub? Right on. But the family was there sitting octagon side, which
Yeah,
after
right.
after the Smashing Machine and what's it, Mark Coleman in in Pride, you don't want to
Hmm.
fucking do that. That shit
Yeah,
might not work. Might not
might
work
not
out.
work out.
I know, no, but it did for the Swanson family on this day, and Christmas is looking a little bit more brighter because you have a $50,000 bonus, and it was quick work of damage. I mean, literally, what, 2 minutes and 12 seconds in the very first round.
Yeah.
So shout out to Cub Swanson. I know I talk. It was just that one comment that kind of set me off. That all MMA reporters should have at least one fight and whatever. That's like nobody. That's like
Yeah.
literally nobody. But Cub Swanson, every time that I've been around him, he's been amazing. So shout out to the Swansons.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
you know, coming out of the area where they are in the high desert area, kind of Palm Springs,
Palm
but not
Springs.
not the Frank Sinatra Palm Springs. We're talking about like the dirty, gritty part of it. People are rife with addictions and whatever. So
The
both
ghetto part.
absolutely. So both Cub and his brother Steve, who has had a MMA, career in his own right. Shout out to them for kind of making it out, man. Like, you guys are doing the good work. So,
Mhm.
and Takea says, Vito knows I'm an MMA fan and I love it.
That's
We are
right.
too. We are too. Yeah. But
Yeah.
your thoughts on this one?
This one went as expected. Darren Elkins is your old school traditional grinder, respectable blue collar fighter. Cub Swanson is a blue collar fighter, but he's one of those dudes. I'm gonna use a prison inmate analogy. He's one of them dudes that get a pass to go home on the weekend. You know what I mean? Because he's got the ability to be old school, blue collar, but yet be very well versed in the realm of lateral movement and free flow. He's been doing this. He's been he's always accessed free flow, Cub Swanson. This is why I took notice of him long time ago. Even before I started competing, I've already known about Cub Swanson. Like I said before, I saw a highlight video of him, and this is where I got my walkout song as an amateur from his video. Cub Swanson looked great. He knew he had the whole fight in the bag when he signed the contract. He knew his lateral movements would be a key factor because Elkins is only great when he's moving forward or moving backwards in a straight line. But when you have someone that cannot stand still and be a reciprocal type fighter for Elkins, he's gonna be in trouble. And that's what Cub is. He's that anti straight line. He's like that guy that's always bouncing around. And though he's standing there, he's not going to be there when you attack. He is this guy. He's he's got fast twitch muscles, and his counter striking is superb. And if you're not counter striking, he'll come and attack you in an awkward way, such that he'll catch you slipping, stun you, throw a wheel kick that almost takes your head off, and then it is what it is. His 2-punch was key. His hooks were key in this particular matchup. The 2 to the 3 was fantastic, and that's what stunned his opponent. He threw the wheel kick, but the wheel kick didn't really land. His opponent was still off balance from the 2-3 that rocked him, and that was that, man. Shout out to Cub Swanson. That 50 G's, you know what I'm saying? Go do something nice with that for your family, man. Don't spend it, invest it.
No, 100%, 100%. Now, Jamal King Harris will be fighting at High Rollers BJJ's January card. Says prison inmate analogy. Also on Derek Lewis. No, we'll definitely get that, my brother. Yeah. And he says, bro, Derek is Bubba from prison. Is that like Bo Derek? Bro Derek? Or is that no?
Hey, he is indeed Bubba. You know what I mean? He's that dude that pounds you and takes your chon chon.
Wait, is that the guy from the history? Like, I ain't gay. I just like men's butts. Ooh, nothing more scrumptious than a man's butt. And he was like crying. He was like,
I can definitely see Derek Lewis in that movie Penitentiary. Penitentiary 1, 2, and 3.
I was paying attention to Penn and Teller's bullshit, so I don't know. Maybe it was the wrong show. And Shaman Steve says, "Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon, Shaman Steve.
What's up, Shaman?
Yeah, glad to have you here. Welcome to the party. But the party don't stop because we had. But before we go, I never want to see a Damage Elkin fight again. Darren Elkin has basically been in wars, and yes, the Cub Swanson is Cub Swanson, right? And all of the things that you said, Voodoo, is absolutely true. He is an ardent mixed martial artist with a tenured history, but also with all of the wars that Darren Elkins has been in, his chin ain't what it used to be. Like, he got tapped. Like, obviously. It's weird to call it earlier in the card because it ends in 2 minutes and 12 seconds of the first round. But in the opening stanza, he gets popped, and I don't think it was the hardest of strikes. But he, you could tell it wobbled him.
It was one of the hardest of strikes. It's just that he couldn't deal with the angles. That angle strike, he couldn't deal with that. He's more into that brawling type. I hit you, rock'em sock'em robot. He's great at that. You know what I mean? I hit you, you hit me, but he cannot deal with that. I try to hit you, I miss, I get hit. He can't deal with that. He can't deal with that. And that's what happened. So those shots that you can't see coming, they hit harder than the ones that you see coming. Even if the one that you see coming was thrown with full power and the other that you don't see coming was thrown with half the power, the one with half the power is going to do more damage, because he didn't see it coming. And that's what he was dealing with in Cub Swanson. He just couldn't deal with that counter strike. the fast twitch advantage was very clear. And Cub Swanson, when he throws a punch, he throws with 1,000% every time, every single time. And on top of that, he bounces into it. He throws his body weight, channels all that energy of his body weight, goes through his arm, and it comes out here. And this is why Cub Swanson is so dangerous. And that's why Darren Elkins was still loopy from the 2-3 that rocked him, even before the whip kick came
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
toed him in the face. He was hit by a toe. You know what I mean? He wasn't really hit. Even the ball part of the foot didn't even hit him. It was like the toes that hit him, which was very, very lucky for him because he could have really gone to the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just, the damage. I don't. It's rough. I kind of hope that for longevity of his life, fuck his career, his life, that it's done. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
done. Because the
yeah.
chin isn't what it used to be. It could be aspects of the weight cut, but we've seen him in wars. Speaking of Woodley and Wonder Boy, again, that's my number two. My
Mm-hmm,
second greatest fight that I've seen live is Darren Elkins and Mirsad Bekzik, right? And the first
mm-hmm.
is Jalen Turner, Richard Leroy, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so with that all being said, that was a war. He was getting his ass kicked, like literally what was it, 12 minutes, 12, 13 minutes, and it was like a buzzer beater before the end of the third round where he kind of gets it together, and an exhausted Mercedes Bektik gets waylaid by Darren Elkins. And I've been a
Mm-hmm,
fan of Darren, unlike Woodley and Wonder Boy, but I've been a fan of Darren Elkins since, even though he goes far back to the WEC, much like Cub Swanson, but UFC 209, what solidified my love and homage to one Darren Elkins. But I think it's time. I think it's
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Speaking
Elkins,
of time, oh, good.
yeah, Elkins. He doesn't have the time or the frame to evolve. He's hit his peak. He's he's already dropped from his peak. He doesn't have. It's very difficult to express this, but it's a fact. He doesn't have what it takes to evolve with this sport, and Cub Swanson still does because the sport is moving towards fast twitch muscle groups, right? Not the large muscles anymore. Not we don't lift and bench press anymore to become powerful, right? That was the old days. Now you're running on your tippy toes, you're hopping here and hopping there, catching little balls. You know what I mean? It's a speed game now. It's a speed game. It's a snapping game, and all that power stuff is going out the door. It's going out the door. I mean, look at the heavyweight division. Every now and then you will catch a situation that we had in the main event, but mark my words, the leaders of tomorrow will be fast moving people, even at heavyweight. Even at heavyweight. Trust me, you'll see.
No, 1,000%. And I mean that Dante Mays and was it Parisian fight, Josh Parisian
Hmm.
fight showed you exactly that. And Jamal Harris says Cobb is slick with his stand up, right? And
Hmm.
like you said, he being Darren Elkins is just a move forward brawler. I mean, his
Hmm.
name is the Damage, of course.
Yeah, yeah. The damaged goods.
Damaged goods, and that kind of reminds me of something my Fijian grandmother said, that you careful what you name yourself or your kids because it
Mm,
comes true. And he
mm.
nicknamed himself the Damage. Literally has it tattooed across his chest, and taking a hell of a lot of damage. And
Show got damaged.
yeah, and I'm sure he meant it the other way, that he causes damage to others, but and that was true at one point, but I think it's true no longer. But
Hey, he needs
yeah,
to get a new tattoo on top that says causes.
Causes damage. Jesus Christ. Causes the damage. I like it. I like it. But that does he have enough chest space? Or he can or
Write
he
it
can
on the neck. He can do it on his neck.
oh
On his neck.
too soon. Didn't we have the guy get stabbed in the neck at the Snoop Dogg concert?
Right. Hey.
R.I.P. that guy. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
Hey.
that's rough.
Hey.
But speaking of rough, Mateus Garmont.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Gamrot. I wanted to call
Mm-hmm.
him something French, but he meleeed Diego Fiera, which
Mm-hmm.
was this or the Darren Elkins one where after they got KO'd, um, they were trying to still fucking take something down, take their opponent down. Do you remember?
Darren Elkins, he was
Oh,
just
yeah, Darren. It was Darren Elkins. Yeah,
yeah. It
because
was this guy. It was Fiera.
okay.
It was Fiera. Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
Fiera. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
It was Fiera.
That's how I remember.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
my
The thing about getting knocked out is sometimes you're unconscious, but the physical continues like a chicken with its head cut off. You
Mhm.
know, you train your body to act without being told to, right? They call it muscle memory and all that. So that his body snapped into action, right? He had been shut out, the brain was shut out, not completely, but the body continued to try and secure a favorable position, even though the fight was already over. And that's what we have here. Diego Fiera, not too long ago, just had a war with Benil Dariush in which he looked fantastic. But then he goes in there against this young buck, you know. I mean, he's not so young, but he's young in movement. He's young in movement. The fast twitch muscles are plentiful in Mateus. The lateral movements are there. The fast twitch is in effect. He's on his way towards free flow, right? Whereas we have Diego Fiera, he's like a Darren Elkin, he's that outdated computer software that cannot be upgraded. Like that laptop that I use right here, it's an Apple computer, but it's from 10, 15 years ago, right? Uh, I cannot use it anymore to FaceTime. Why? Because the programming is very, very old. The new program is different. So even though it's got the capability of using camera and all that, I can't even use it to do this particular program anymore because it's too old. And this is what we have in these fighters, the Diego Fiera. I mean, they work great. They are great fighters still, but they don't have that intangible, which is fast twitch, free flowing, lateral moving, snapping, kicking. They don't have that. They don't have that. They're stuck in their old ways. Like Conor McGregor would say, they're stuck in the mud. And this is the problem. This is the problem. They're too flat footed. They don't bounce on their feet like a Taekwondo artist or a boxer would. They don't do these things. And this is why they're losing.
Yeah, it's not fun to lose. Not fun to lose. But again, Mateus, coming away with the victory, the Polish power basically coming into play. So shout out to Mateus. But wait, yeah, no, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But in the 10th fight of the night, we have Ricky Simon against Rafael Assunção. And you remember, I always bring this up because Assunção was supposed to be the future of the bantamweight division, a future champion of the bantamweight
Mm-hmm.
division. But that future was 3 to 5 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's no longer. It's no longer he compared to his younger. I mean, the difference between the two, I think they said it was 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Assunção, man, I don't know where he goes from here, man. I don't, because this is his fourth straight loss. Now, mind you, Marlon Moraes, former World Series of Fighting champion, Corey Sanhagen, who many believe is the next. Well, I mean, he fought for the interim title, right? Cody Garbrandt, former UFC bantamweight champion, right? So
Mm-hmm.
champion, title contender, champion, what have you. Um, and that's essentially where we stand with him. And those are, you could argue, that was just a tough luck of the draw. Look, he's facing a former champion in Marlon Moraes of World Series of Fighting, or he's fighting a title contender in Corey Sanhagen, or with Cody Garbrandt, a former champion. But Ricky Simon is on the upward trajectory, and he got beat by a young gun, and this makes it 0-4 for
Mm-hmm.
Rafael Assunção in his last
Mm-hmm.
four fights.
Mm-hmm.
So you might see some bloodletting from the
Mm-hmm.
UFC roster, as he may get get cut.
Hey man, Ascenso has been around, I believe, since the days of WEC, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, we're talking Fuel TV versus. We're talking way back, man. So it is what it is. The man, he's run his course. Like he's another example of failure to evolve, failure to develop those muscle groups that will take you into the next realm. And Ricky Simone, he's got that. Ricky Simone comes from wrestling. He comes from wrestling, not jujitsu. His wrestling nullified the jiu-jitsu assault of Assunção, and that's what we have. He forced Assunção to stand where he is not comfortable. Assunção can scrap, but Ricky Simone's got that bounce. He's got that lateral bounce. And when he hits you, he's going to hit you with his entire body. You know, he's going to hit you with his entire body. You know, we have that right hook to that uppercut, shut him out, light him out, turn him off. And that was that. You know, he sat him in a corner and he uppercutted him to oblivion, almost knocked his head off his shoulder, and he stayed where he was sat, where he sat. He stayed there and went to sleep. Sorry, Assunção, the game's over.
That's it. Game over. Ricky Simone was ready, player one.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't know where we go from here, but we know where we're going. We're going to the fight of the night between Amanda Lemos and one former Invicta champion, strawweight champion, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
Angela Overkill Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You know what? Do you know who Angela Hill's grandfather is?
No. Who?
Barney Hill. Do you know who Barney Hill is?
Yeah, yeah, the TV show from back in the days.
No. That's Benny Hill.
Oh, okay. I was about to say,
Yeah.
what?
No.
Nah, who's this
Because
Barney Hill?
Barney Hill is the first person to him and his wife were the first confirmed UFO abductees.
Oh.
You know how I know that? Oh, float over to the Joe Rogan podcast after this one, but it's the episode with Theo, the most recent episode with Theo Vaughn, and I can't remember why they brought it up or whatever, but it was like they were talking about aliens and whatever, and Barney Hill and his wife, it was an interracial relationship in the 50s, which was,
Mm.
we're
Taboo.
yeah, absolutely right. We're still in the Jim Crow era, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, it's but they were a mixed race couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also abducted by aliens, and everybody called bullshit on them and what have you, but they've never changed their story. So I'm just saying, and yes, they've gone on interviews and all that jazz and what have you, but their story is consistent, and their granddaughter, Barney and his wife's granddaughter, is Angela Hill, meaning that literally their offspring is Angela Hill's dad, which is
Mm-hmm.
fucking cool. But speaking of abductions, I mean, if you're going to abduct this from your fight of the night contendership, you're fucking out of your mind, because
Mm-hmm.
Takia says it best. Okay, let's talk about champion Angela Hill. She did her thing 100%,
Mm-hmm.
as did, as did Lemos. I mean, this is amazing. And yes, Angela is so tough. Couldn't agree
Mm-hmm.
with you more.
Mm-hmm.
These two, again, and it's wild because Angela Hill is 36, about the same age
Mm-hmm.
I am. And, her fight IQ is still growing. It's still completely growing. When you think about it, she was kind of portly, right? She wanted to get into kickboxing to lose weight, and she does it, and then her coach is like, "Why don't you fight?" She fights, first Muay Thai fight, championship. She didn't give a shit. Won a title in her first combat sports anything. She's incredible, right?
Mhm.
But you got to
Mhm.
think about the immigrant mentality of
Mhm.
Amanda Lemos, right?
Mhm.
That's something that, I mean, floating back to Rogan, right? He had on Chito Vera, Marlon Chito
Mhm.
Vera, and
Mhm.
if you hear his story and you know his story, and that is something I encourage all of you to check out to know what's important and what it can mean to be an American, right? Especially if your parents or you yourself hail from another country. This is it, and I think that aspect. If this theoretically is a game of inches, whether it be striking, whether it be grappling, a slip here, a move here, a duck here, right? Could meet you from certain death, prevent you from literally dying, right? Or jujitsu, you're okay in a knee bar, you're okay. Oh, fuck, my ACL is gone, right? So, with that all being said, I think this just kind of culturally, I just think that this was the inch that Amanda Lemos had over Angela Hill because both absolutely tough fighters, tough women, tough fighters, tough people, and what have you. This was a love letter to MMA. If you don't know what MMA is about, drop in here, drop into this fight, rewatch that, and figure it out. If you're like, oh my gosh, there's fights every weekend or whatever, when you got gems like this, don't matter. Don't matter what's happening next weekend, next year, next whatever the hell. It's right now. And this right now, what both ladies showed, I mean, it showed the UFC brass that they were worth $50,000 each in
Mhm.
addition to their fight purse. So I'm just saying, shout out to Amanda Lemos, the winner. Also, shout out to the tough competitor that is Angela Overkill Hill.
Okay, when I look at this fight and I look at Raquel Pennington and Macy Chiasson, I prefer them Raquel Pennington versus Macy Chiasson for the fight of the night. I prefer that because it was a decisive victory, and it was more competitive, if you ask me. Uh, Amanda Lemos was great. So was Angela Hill. They were both great, but I prefer that fight over this fight. Now, second, I believe Angela Hill won this fight because yeah, she took some shots. They both took shots. Angela might have taken more shots than Lemos, but she landed more strikes. She pushed the issue a lot more. She had the opponent on the heels a lot more. Uh, she dictated where the fight was or was to take place. She did take heavier shots, but I do not believe she lost this match. Yet again, the judges robs Angela Hill of her victory, and this has happened at least 5 times since I've been watching her fight. She comes so close, she does enough to win, and yet she doesn't get it. Um, I don't know what she has to do. I don't know what she has to do because now she's 13-11, and at least 5 to 6 of these matches should be in the win column for her. So eh, it sucks to see someone work so hard and not get rewarded for their hard work. But at least the president Dana White took notice of this and gave them both $50,000 each because he feels the same. I caught him in the post fight conference saying he gave the fight to Angela Hill as well. I'm guessing this is why he gave them the fight of the night. I thought the other fight, Rocky Pennington fight, was a lot more competitive, more technical. Uh, um, uh, uh, when in regards to striking at the highest level. That's what I saw in Raquel Pennington and Macy Chiasson. Chiasson being the bigger body, Raquel being the smaller body. Raquel using the experience to exploit the bigger body, getting in, hitting the body, moving on to the head. Everything was phenomenal in that fight. It was closer to perfect than Amanda Lemos versus Angela Hill. My personal opinion. it is what it is.
It absolutely is what it is, but you know what else it is? It is the co-main events of the evening. We have Bilal, remember thy name, Muhammad. Oh, it's remember my name,
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad, against one Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
And you expressed something pretty early on. What was being chanted at Bilal Muhammad?
They were calling him a terrorist. They were saying Wonder Boy lost to a terrorist.
Yeah, that's where we're at, and
Yeah, only in America.
only in America. I mean, I'm sure it happens in other places. I mean, there's like the whole Israel Palestine deal that I am not qualified to talk about at all, so
Right.
I won't. But I'm just saying, you know, um, I like I like this, and especially the fact that Bilal in his post-fight speech was talking about his brother, was diagnosed with cancer, didn't want to tell Bilal at all because he wanted him to make sure that he stayed prepped and ready for this fight. He didn't want to divert attention from his brother in his co-main event, and this makes it all more sweeter for the Mohammeds. This is a great win, and Wonderboy got trounced, and it was like, okay. I understand what Wonderboy was trying to do by literally having almost his entire, what I would assume, a large part of him and his dad's, karate studio from South Carolina, where they're from, to go to Vegas. But I'm all like, Christian dude, right? Karate guy, Wonder Boy, you know, kind of like whatever, and you bring a bunch of kids to the city of sin and what have you to watch you get your ass kicked. I mean,
By a Muslim.
yes, yes, yes. I mean, and I don't have a dog in the hunt, So,
Me
and
neither.
yeah, but it's just ironic as shit, you know. And yeah, Jamal Harris says, "How about Bilal? The technique and the game plan,
Yes.
great job."
Yes.
No, 100%.
Yes.
I mean, there was
Yes.
no way that Wonder Boy was coming, and I figured it, because Wonder Boy, he's all about the karate. And as
Mm-hmm.
we were talking with Shohei Yamamoto
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, and if you guys haven't seen that interview, go ahead, it's in the archive. But the karate in terms of the traditional aspect of it. It's awesome to be traditional, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily work in this mixed martial arts environment. And you almost
Mm-hmm.
have a rubber meets the road,
Mm-hmm.
type scenario. And I think that's it because, Wonder Boy is nearing 40, if not 40
Mm-hmm.
already. And
Mm-hmm.
look how, I mean, in MMA years, he might as well be 60.
Mm-hmm.
He might as well be 60 with no evolution. And
Mm-hmm.
again, his two title fights were absolutely abysmal to the extent
Mm-hmm.
where I never wanted to see him or Tyron Woodley fight again. And they both took massive L's on the same night in two different sports. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying, if that's not saying anything, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Again,
Yeah.
I've been wanting both men, both Woodley and Wonder Boy, to retire since UFC 209, and they didn't listen to me. And look where they're at now. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Bilal Muhammad was like, "Hey man, let me hit up my brother." I called my brother. Hello. Can I borrow one of the pages in your game plan book? Sure, brother. Anything for a brother. Okay, brother. No problem, brother. He gets the page. He gets facts to him. He reads it. He's like, "Oh, okay." Shut his legs down. What does he? What is his primary weapon? What are his legs? Those pair of legs. Shut them down. Hit the double. Shut the legs down. Tie them up, and just pound away. Dagestani handcuff on the backside and pound away with the free hand. And that's all he did. Got him to the ground, tied up one of his legs, and pounded away. Dagestani on the outside and pound away. And he did that for 15 minutes. Nothing fancy, nothing great. Get the double leg, take him down, tie his legs up so he can't get up, At least tie one of them up. You need at least one. He can't do anything with 50% of his legs. Can't. Because you got your whole weight on the other leg that's tied down. Now you can handcuff the other one of his arms and fire away. And he did that for the entire time. Why stand with a dynamic striker when you can simply take them down? Common sense. Common sense. Sometimes you don't have to be flashy. You don't have to impress anyone. It's about the W. In this case, it was about the W. It was about the dominant performance. It was about shutting down the opponent. It was about showing the UFC brass intelligence. Bilal Muhammad, remember the name, did exactly that. He hit all beavers, that pops up in the game that you hit. Rock'em sock'em, what do you call that? The beaver game? The head pops up, you hit him, you knock it down. What's that game called?
Whack-a-mole?
Whack-a-mole, yeah, whack-a-beaver, whatever. he smashed every last one of them beaver heads right back into the hole, man. Bilal hit a home run, an MMA home run yesterday. Shout out to Bilal Muhammad. He didn't take any damage. Guess who is ready for an emergency fight? If there's a title fight and they need to fill in Bilal Muhammad is ready because he took zero damage. He took zero damage, and then he grabbed that microphone and he talked a bunch of shiznit. That's how you win a match. That's how you rock the mic. And hopefully the 2/3 of the whole is enough to help him build this platform so he can hit a complete home run for the night. I don't know what his platform is like, but the mic skills was on point. The fight skill was on point. The rest is up to him.
Just taking a quick inventory. We got whacking beavers,
Yeah.
the black hole, and on point. There's no jokes in there at all. Not at all. But I don't know if you know, but beaver could be referenced as a lady's. Just
Like
saying.
a beaver.
Yes. Jesus Christ. But yes, Bilal Muhammad, Jesus. Bilal Muhammad, moves on and advances. Again, Wonder Boy retire. Tyron Woodley retire. Please, just please can whatever, like the Wonder Boy or the Thompson Family Karate Studio. That ain't it. You can have fights there. It's a spacious damn thing. They have an estate that they live on. That Wonder Boy, as a 38-year-old gentleman, still lives with his parents. Which, if you lived in a castle, why the fuck leave?
Why not?
It's work for Prince Charles and Camilla, right? So whatever the fuck, right? So I'm just saying, and they killed Princess Diana. Damn it! I'm just saying. Never forget. But one thing that we should never forget is the main events of the evening. We had one Chris Daukaus against the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. And this one was a short affair because this got ended in a short affair. Derek Lewis, literally, Derek Lewis punches are like dynamite. It just knocks you dead. You explode to smithereens and what have you. But it was even worse because there was a bit of a scuffle, a kerfuffle, because Chris Daukaus was already on roller skates in a bit of an interaction that they had just a few seconds before the actual knockout, right? But it put him in a position where he was unguarded. Literally, Derek Lewis had the back of his head with his left hand and punched him with the right hand. It was a short right hand and down and a full power short punch from Derek Lewis. Good fucking God. This was insane. This was absolutely insane. And again, nothing against Chris Daukaus, right? But Chris Daukaus, much like Cyril Gane, right? And I'm not trying to compare their fight acumen or anything like that because Cyril Gane is, kind of etching out one Chris Daukaus in this particular category when you think of overall combat sports. He's a multiple time heavyweight champion in Muay Thai before coming into the UFC and getting a interim title, right? Yeah, and an undefeated record that is still unblemished, right? But Derek Lewis, you don't cut that motherfucker out. Not at all. You know, he doesn't even care about the title. He's just like, he literally said in his post fight, hey, if you're going to fucking change the rules for me to make title fights 3 rounds, I'm in. But if not, don't even fucking look at my phone. Don't even
Don't
fucking
put
call
me
me.
in any one of your main events. I don't want to be in any one of your main events. It's gonna be 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'll take the co-main event. I don't want to be in your main event. I can dig it. The man's about his bread. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, this is combat sports. You're slamming bones against bone for money. You know what I mean? People take it as something else. It's not that complex. It's not that complex. It's very simple. You know what I mean? We are in this to win. Yeah, there's a belt that comes with it when you're the very best. But that should not be your primary focus. Your money should be your primary focus. Potentially, if you take serious damage, you want to be able to pay your doctor's fees. This is should be the very most important thing for you. That belt is not going to pay your doctor's fees. It's not. Charles Oliveira won the title. He had to fight one more time to start making money. You know what I mean? He took the wrong road to the title. That's my personal opinion. I believe he took the wrong road to. Why would you line up when you can do your absolute best to try and he could have antagonized Conor McGregor and got himself a fight. You know, oh, it's very simple to antagonize Conor McGregor. Just talk a bunch of shit to him, talk some smack to him. You know, Conor is a man of um of integrity, so to speak, right? If you question his integrity, he will see you in the cage. That's all you have to do is question his integrity and go for the money fight. If you can beat Conor, you will damn near skip 10 or 15 people to get to the title shot. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's that simple. Because once you beat Conor, you become an icon automatically because he is that polarizing. He is that polarizing. Everyone that's beaten Conor McGregor has gone on to fight in a title match. They've all gone on to fight in a title match. You know what I mean? Check the records. It's a fact. It's a fact. They skip the line and go on to fight for the title, with the exception of Nate Diaz, of course. Nate, you know, he's not into titles. He doesn't give a damn about titles because he's an intelligent human being. He realizes that the path to the title is not the path to this, and he's about this. You know what I mean? When you come from nothing and you are hungry, 9 times out of 10, this comes first before some gold belt. Gold belt don't feed the family. It doesn't. It doesn't. Money fights feeds the family. Even now after he's got the belt, now he's talking about, oh, I'll fight Conor McGregor right now because we need to feed the family. We need to.
Go.
Come on, man.
You good? You're all good? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh! He went into the shadow realm, which Jamal Harris, your comment sounds even better right now. Send him to the shadow realm. It's a dark place. Apparently, Chris Dawkins is there and waiting to greet, uh, waiting to greet Voodoo Maximus. But yeah, man, this one was a short affair. You know, Derek Lewis. What can you say or not say about it? And especially a particular fan in the crowd got a crazy souvenir because you know what Derek Lewis doesn't give a shit about in addition to 5 round fights, doesn't give a shit about his cup because as soon as he was able to relinquish it, he relinquished that damn thing into the crowd, which Jamal Harris says, "Send him to the shallow realm. It's a dark place." He was talking. He was talking about Chris Daukaus, but I have a feeling that Chris Daukaus met you there with open arms and pushed you right back here to be here with us. Right? It's exactly what happened. How's the shallow realm?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Hey, he Yu-Gi-Oh that son of a gun. Hey man, look, it's when you are fighting someone, first of all, who is 30 to 40 pounds heavier than you. When you are fighting an individual like this, and you have 25 minutes, why are you going at him in the first round? Let him come to you. Let Chris Dawkins got the footwork. He's got the boxing. He's got the tools to beat Derek Lewis, but yet his ego got in the way. Why would you stand toe to toe and exchange shots against someone who we all know is a devastating puncher? All he needs to do is hit you one time, and that's that. As you can see, this is what happened in the matchup. Uh, why? Why? Why, Officer Dawkins? Is it because he is a former criminal and you have to show him that you are tough? You need to show the former criminal that you are tougher than him. You are the law. Huh? Are you Judge Dredd? Are you the law? I am the law. You need to show him you're the law, how tough you are. No, you need to use your sense. You need to use your common sense, your brain. You need to exercise excellent brain power and you need to invite him into deep waters. Let him come into deep waters. Let him tire a little bit, you know, grapple him a little bit. Let him burn some energy. We all know he doesn't like to go 5 rounds. Well, take him where he doesn't want to be. This is common sense. Dawkins is still young in the game, and I'm sure this fight will help teach him the lessons he needs to learn so he can come back next time, and when he's in this situation again, he can exercise good judgment, right? Exercise good judgment and fight the man like you're supposed to fight him. He is stronger than a bull elephant in the first round. Why would you engage something so powerful in the first round? That I cannot explain. That only Mr. Dawkins, Officer Dawkins can explain this to you because that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Ain't gonna be no police cover up in this one because we all saw it. Everyone had their cell phones out and they saw you messed up and you paid for it. And hopefully, Officer Dawkins, you yourself learn from this very stupid mistake that you made because you cost me some money. I didn't bet, but if I would have bet, I would have bet on you. And I would have been very upset, Officer Dawkins, if you caused me to lose my hard-earned money. And it's unfortunate that he went out like that. He has way more skill than he showed. He let his ego get the best of him, and he went to sleep for it.
Yeah, and it's weird. Jamal said, "Yep, Dawkins is goofy with
He
the
was
goofy
goofy.
face." Yeah, and I love this. I love this. Bruce Robtrotter says, in regards to Wonder Boy, "Hey guys, no need to change his name to Wonder Man. The more accurate nickname for him now would be Stephen Irrelevant Thompson." Agreed? Fuck yes, I agree. Nonsensical, Thompson. Shit stain. You douche.
Hey.
He's not a douche rag. I'm not gonna say that, but garbage juice. Garbage juice.
Hey, as long as there's a threat of a takedown, he will continue to be irrelevant. If there's a threat of a takedown, he will continue to be irrelevant because this is what you do to dynamic fighters. You take them down. When you take them down, you keep them down. You know what I mean? Like the man.
Like the man.
Like the
Wow,
man.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Well, okay. One thing I don't understand, right? Like, if you are a dynamic striker, right, and you don't want to fucking learn the takedowns and all that shit like that, why compete in the fucking MMA deal in the first place? There's Muay Thai. There's fucking, what is karate, being a traditional karate fighter? Are we not getting paid the same amount of money as even jiu-jitsu people? and what have you. Like what the fuck is going on? Or,
Mhm.
but it's kind of wild to me because, like, again, the Thompsons live in a palatial estate. It's an
Mhm.
estate. I mean,
Mhm.
they did the last time that they did a UFC embedded, or not an embedded, but a countdown show for
Mhm.
Wonder Boy. It's a fucking estate, man.
Mhm.
And I don't know what it must cost in South Carolina, and I don't know when it was built or whatever, but that would be a $5 million house in California deal. Five to
Easy.
$10 million. They live in an estate, right? And then the dojo is a big cavernous fucking thing. You could have fights in that place.
They
So
have hundreds of students. Hundreds.
right. So
They have hundreds of students.
why don't they give back it to their community and have fights and tournaments and offer up real fucking money? I don't know.
It's a very
It
good question.
it ain't
Very
as
good
wondrous
question.
as it seems to be. Wonder Boy Thompson. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird. I don't
And
know.
I guess he assumed that since Bilal is an excellent striker, that he was going to stand toe to toe with him and strike with him and be honorable. Ain't no honor amongst thieves, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no honor amongst thieves. I don't have to stand and fight you where you are best so we can give a great show to the audience. Why would I want to do that when I could just snatch up a W over a top notch fighter, a top 10 fighter, easy money? Why wouldn't I want to do that and then save myself from getting damaged?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bilal Muhammad can fight today, right now,
Hmm.
if he has to. He
Yeah.
can take a match right now if
No.
he has to because he took zero damage. He took zero damage and his opponent took all the damage.
Hmm.
This is what mixed martial arts all about.
Yeah.
This is how you exploit those who are exploitable. You know what I'm saying? He did what he had to do. I'm not even mad at Bilal Muhammad. It was a boring match, one of the most boring matches I've ever seen. It came close to as boring as Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy. It was just as boring. You know what I mean? For your average fan, but for those diehard people who know what they're looking at, it was an excellent, excellent, excellent strategy by Bilal Muhammad. He Khabib'd them. He pretty much Khabib'd them to oblivion, and he took the title, the win, the W. He took the W, flawless victory. With the exception of the fatality.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jamal King Harris says, I'd go, to Thompson Karate Federation. See, I just
I
named it
go
for
too.
you. Yeah. Yeah, what is it? I almost said KFC, but it would be K. Fuck.
I'll go there too.
Yeah, there you go. And great idea. No, I appreciate it, And Tyson Duckworth from Alaska, he says it's not who is the best fighter, it's who fights best. Boring equals smart, you
That's
know.
right. That's
And
right.
and Jamal Harris says, "I love the analogy. I tell my teammates all the time that you take them down, you maul them, and never leave your hands on the mat. You'll regret it and get
That's
stunned.
right.
100%."
That's right.
And Bruce Bob Trotter saying, "Daukaus be applying for his cop job now, reapplying for the cop job, trying to get his pension back. What you guys think?" Yeah, that's a pretty, you know, yeah, that's a
hey,
pretty plausible
hey, after
scenario.
after Derek Lewis knocks some sense into him, he's gonna be like, "What was I thinking? Trying to be a
Wait,
fighter."
wait, but that, I mean, theoretically, if uh metaphorically Chris Dawkins died last night at the hands of Derek Lewis, would that make him a cop killer? I don't know. Not
All
that
the
I can condone,
motherfucking cop
not
killer.
not that I condone it, but there is a body count song fronted by
Ice-T.
Ice T called Cop Killer. So I'm just yeah. So
Hey, wouldn't that be great if he came out to that song yesterday? That would have been perfect.
oh, he would have not
That would have been.
been that would have not flied on ESPN, the Disney Channel, plus the fucking UFC that are all about the what is it? The fight for our troops and shit. That would have not flied at
Oh,
all,
oh
you
my
know.
god.
And Bootstrap China says, Daukaus forgot that cops only fight with guns, so he needs to go back to the next time. He'll pop at least 5 caps in Derek Lewis. Then we'll
Before the
see.
match.
Then we'll see who wins. Coming in with the heat. And colors, as Tyson.
I'm a nightmare walking,
Yes,
psychopath talking.
yes, he really Khabib'd him. Since my last fight, this has always been my strategy. Being at extreme, I use Julian Baez for my striking if game plan doesn't work.
Yep. Straight up, man. Hey, easy path of least resistance. Always take that in a mixed martial arts fight. I don't care. I don't care what the fans are trying to see. I will only give you what you're trying to see if there's something in it for me. It's the pay grade. Let's say I'm fighting Conor McGregor. Guess what? I will be as flashy and exciting as possible. But if I'm in line for the title, I'm stacking W's. I'm stacking W's. If I'm in line for the title, I'm stacking W's because it's not worth me risking my place in line trying to be flashy like Mr. Daukaus here, trying to be flashy, want to stand and bang with Derek Lewis. Come on, man, the most knockouts. He was tied for the most knockouts in the federation. You wanna, you wanna, you wanna play chicken with Derek Lewis in head-on traffic? Come on, man. You talking about a big rig going against an F-150 truck. This is the issue that we have here. The big rig will always smack the shiznit out of an F-150 truck. Though it's an F-150 Raptor, it can do all this fancy driving. But when you go up against a Mack truck, you will get flattened. And he got flattened. He should have known better. He should have been running circles around Derek Lewis. This is what common sense tells us to do. If you're a fighter and you're going up against such an opposition, you got to score points. Score points, and if he's tired enough, you go in for the kill. But you don't go after him when he's strongest. What was he thinking? I'm sure he's at home right now in a dark room, holding his head, thinking, why did I do something so stupid? He was in line, in position to steal third or fourth place in the division. Third or fourth place. He was in line for an easy transition into the who is who of the heavyweight division. And he blew it. He blew it. He could have easily gone past Curtis Blades. Because Curtis Blades is the toughest fight in the heavyweight division, if you ask me. He is the toughest fight in the heavyweight division because he will mix martial arts you to oblivion and slice you up with these. At least Derek Lewis will just put your lights out. No pain, no foul, no gain. You won't feel the pain. You would just understand. You'll wake up 2 weeks later and realize, oh man, I lost to Derek Lewis 2 weeks ago. I guarantee you he's still sleeping. He could have easily gone past Curtis Blades, but no, he wanted to be a tough guy. He wanted to be the tough guy with it. He got what was coming.
Now you said something about a big rig versus a F-150, but what if you're Johnny Hendricks, the big rig, driving an F-150? Who wins that collision? I fucking don't know.
If it was Johnny Hendricks on the juice like he used to be on, then I'll put my money on the F-150 on juice.
On juice, which is Vitor Belfort, right? Insane. And the entire card of the first 25 UFCs. Good lord. But yeah, man, it's a wild world that the UFC is, which I think if this is the final UFC of the 2020 year or 2021, I should say. So man, I think we should get back the week after the Christmas holiday, and let's say we do a year in review show.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can do
Yeah,
that.
definitely do that.
So that will be our final Voodoo in the Woods of 2021, our year in review, right after Christmas and what have you. Get you all warm and fuzzy, and then be like Derek Lewis and throw a cup in your fucking face. That's what we'll do.
Unless we snatch an emergency interview, unless we, you know what I mean, then we might go that route. But
Yeah.
if we don't snatch a potential interview, you know what I mean, then we will do the closing year end show like Mr. Woods just said. But if we happen to come across a a super interview, we're gonna jump on that, and we will
Yes.
be right back.
Right back. So again, the only way that you can be abreast of either scenario is if you subscribe to the Voodoo in the Woods YouTube and Facebook pages, along with bodyslam.net, which is also where you can stream this very podcast. And shout out to the entire bodyslam.net family here, which we are a part of. So again, get your fix. Come and join us because it's good. It's a fork in the road, and it's like a fork in spaghetti. You want to eat that shit up. So eat us up. I think that's what we went with, because you went
That's
with
right.
the whack-a-beaver. I'm going to eat me. So there you go. But this is Voodoo in the Woods for this week. Voodoo, where can they find you on social media?
You can definitely find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page, Twitter, and Snapshot. Snapchat.
Yeah, the chapter snaps.
Voodoo Maximus.
According to Woods across the board. You just put that in the Google machine, you'll find this face that is made for radio, not for TV, but somehow video killed the radio star. So there
That's
you
right.
go. And we will see you next time right here on Voodoo in the Woods. We are out.